Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Welcome to yet another installment of Game Over Calgary. My name is Matt DeMille, and I'm joined by my fellow Game Over Calgary host, Conrad Krausert. Happy National Boo Adam Fox Day to all who celebrate. I know the two of us are very big into the festive holiday, and of course that meant it was we're joining the stream tonight on a very good note with the Flames defeating the New York Rangers 3-2 in regulation. I don't know about you, Conrad, but this was, I'd say, at least it started on a pretty good note for me watching this game. I would say, or I'd make the argument that this was probably one of the best first periods I've seen the Flames play this season. And obviously it got a little hairy at times, but they ended up coming out with the 2 points. So how are you doing on this fine Thursday evening?
I'd be a lot happier if Adam Fox didn't get that secondary assist on the Will Coyle, or I think it's Cooley, apparently. That's how you pronounce his last name.
I believe it's Cooley, yeah.
With a bunch of weird extra vowels in there. But yeah, Adam Fox got a point in this game, but the Flames walk away with the 2 points where it matters. It's truly been a wild one, and Jonathan Huberdeau gets his 500th career point and almost pulls a Petrek Stefan in the same game. So it was a back and forth emotional affair for me over here.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the most Huberdeau thing to do, or at least since he's joined the Flames, is hit a pretty important milestone again, as you said, 500 career assists, and then almost potentially blow what could have been, or what was a Flames win by nailing the post in the dying seconds.
And it was square. Like, it wasn't just, he put it off the outside of the post. No, that was as much post as the puck could hit.
This would have been, I would say, a highlight reel goal if we were out on the pond playing a game of post. Like, you couldn't hit it more center. So, I mean, I guess we can give him a little bit of kudos as well. Like, if you want to throw, maybe he was going for a little bit of a trick shot or something like that. But either way, a very Huberdeau moment in what was another Flames win. These guys keep finding ways to win. And even just in the past, the Flames have been quite a good team against the New York Rangers.
Except last year.
But I was going to say, with tonight's win, this marks 5 of their last 6 home games against the Rangers, taking home the win. And I believe with tonight's score of 3-2, they're officially outscoring them 22-11 in those last 6 meetings. I'm just reading off the Sportsnet stats, so I think I did the math right. I'm not super good with math, but
either of us are.
Either way, the Flames have been traditionally a pretty good team against the Rangers, and the Rangers have been a good team the last couple of seasons. So hats off to them, and what was a pretty gutty win today. You mentioned tonight was also an emotional game for you. It was an emotional game for me in maybe a different way than you. Tonight was the Flames' annual Hockey Fights Cancer night as well in the Dome. For me, it's a very special night for me. For those of you who may not know, I grew up, I had a best friend. His name was Alec Remenda, and he unfortunately lost a battle to cancer when we were kids. And for myself, he was one of my best buddies, and seeing the Flames kind of support a cause, and even the NHL as a whole, supporting the Hockey Fights Cancer campaign, it's a very special day for me. So obviously 2 points for that, for both of us.
My mom's currently undergoing cancer treatment over at the Tom Baker Cancer Center. So this was a special one for me and my family as well. I know my mom wasn't able to be in the game today, but I know she was watching at home, and I know my dad's watching Game Over back at home. So, Mom, you were in my thoughts today, and good to see when the purple jerseys come out, the Flames could bring home 2 points. So
likewise, and obviously the entire Game Over staff is supporting your mom, Conrad, and helping her in her battle as well. So definitely a special night on all fronts. Let's talk about the game specifically. Again, we mentioned the Flames pick up another crucial points in what's becoming quite a very tight race in the Pacific Division. With that win tonight, the Flames still maintain their spot in their second place spot in the Pacific Division, and they're just 1 point behind the leading Vegas Golden Knights. So obviously, if the Flames are going to want to be in a playoff spot, again, big 2 points to pick up, and against a very big team. Now, we're going to switch gears into the show, I guess. I know we've kind of been rambling a little bit in our introduction here, but before we can jump into the first period, just wanted to let you guys know to check out our flagship show on the Game Over Network, which is Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries, whatever it is and wherever it is. Max, Daphne, and Kev have got you covered for all your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at GameOverNetwork.com as well. Now, jumping into period one today, Conrad, I know for us a big talking point was something that we've maybe been a little harsh on the team in past streams, and that's their special teams as a whole. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you mentioned to me earlier this marks the second straight game the Flames pick up a power play goal. Again, I would say, is this power play one of the best in the leagues at this point? No. But considering where we started and what we've been saying about this team in the past, is it a pretty big step in the right direction? I'd say so. I'll kind of open the floor to you. I feel like I've been talking a lot here, and I obviously want to let your great thoughts into this chat as well. So what are you thinking of the Flames special teams right now?
You're all good, buddy. To quote Shania Twain, we're in the point in the season where we can only go up from here. And seeing Igor Shesterkin get the power play marker, only his third goal of the year, and it was that release that we saw last year. That absolute bullet that takes no time to release, finds top corner. I know on the broadcast they were really praising the job that Mackenzie Weegar had done prior to the shot. And you also saw on the Matt Coronado goal, Igor Sharangovich get involved, get tied up in the stick, allow for that shooting lane. But two great shots, and also going 1-for-1 on the penalty kill is not something I really expect from this Calgary Flames unit recently. Especially in a game where we saw the first real extended period in time where it wasn't Blake Coleman and the captain Michael Backlund stapled together all game. Like, even when they were killing penalties, it wasn't the two-man unit that we're used to seeing out there. So things starting to shift around a little bit, and maybe that's starting to add a little bit more jump. Of course, tough to debate that there wasn't a big hole to dig underneath where we were. We were already pretty darn close to rock bottom. But if this can continue to see some improvement, even if it only gets us to a middling 15th, 16th position at the end of the year, I think that's a marked improvement from where we've been the last 2 years in terms of our special teams.
I agree. I mean, like you said, like going 1-for-1 on the penalty kill isn't something that maybe it's brag worthy in some markets, but for us Flames fans and what we've seen this season, it's something that I will go home or I will go to bed happy about for sure. But yeah, I agree. Like, rock bottom's a good way to put it in the sense that, like, they've set the bar pretty low and the standards pretty low. So to be a kind of average team at this is I would say a pretty good kind of increase that we've seen lately. And obviously we're at the quarter mark in the season. So, like, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but if we're going from a bottom team in terms of special teams to maybe a mid to bottom team, and we're only a quarter way through, like, the trajectory, like, hey, there's no saying that the Flames can be a top special team by game 82. I might be thinking a little, I might be putting a little bit too much faith in the team, but yeah, I mean, it's been a big noticeable step up, and just like I would say in past games we've seen, like, they've looked flat listless. Like there's just like no intensity. And tonight, like the pressure was there. They weren't giving the Rangers much time to think, to make a play. Like there were guys putting pressure on, and it seems like such a little thing, but like it actually is in the long run of special teams, like not being able to give your opponents time to think, giving them space. It's a big upgrade. And so just that kind of increase in energy is something that goes unnoticed, but is quite important, I would say.
And you see it a lot in another sport that I watch a lot of, and shout out to Tommy Wheeldon Jr. When you're pressing, you're not giving your opponent a time to make an adjustment. Especially when there's a bunch of guys on that Rangers lineup that are elite level offensive defensemen, including a certain Harvard grad. But it really is something because Flames have been quite passive, and when they get passive, they get poor results. So the fact that they were more active at the blue line, trying to stop the zone entries on their 1-for-1, because I think if I remember correctly, the Rangers only had one shot on their power play. So if we're limiting the shots, limiting the opportunities, this team can only get better. Um, and something else we have to make note of before we move on from beyond this, the Flames, where'd my NHL tab go? The Flames come out of this one with 49 shots on goal. That's not shot attempts. That's shots on goal. And that's huge. They matched their regular season high in the first two periods with 37 shots. So that combined with how the special teams play worked out today, it's just phenomenal. I don't think there's another word I can say to
I agree. I think
break this down.
it like I mentioned earlier, I feel like this was one of the more well-rounded games that we've seen. Like again, there were hiccups in that second period. That I mean, the 2 goals in 16 seconds, like that's just a blunder. Like we can't say this was a perfect game by the Flames, but the areas that we've asked for work to be done, it's been done tonight, and the results showed. Like you take 2 points in regulation against what a lot of people entering this season, I don't know if you can say it right now, but entering this season, Stanley Cup contenders, right? So
It's an elite forward unit. It has to be said. Like Alexis Lafreniere scores today.
Yep.
Will Coyle's a really under-heralded player, or Cooley. I apologize. I'm gonna always forget that. It's too many vowels in there. But under-heralded, but had 7 goals on the year. You have Jacob Trouba, who, when he's not nailing people in the head with hits, he's quite an offensively gifted defenseman. And Adam Fox, 16 assists on the year. So
the he who
offense all
must not
around
be
this.
named.
Yeah, I said his name. I know that's another dollar in the jar or something.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
it's a group that has a ton of offensive firepower, and limiting them to only those 2 goals in lapses. And I'm just gonna try and check what the defensive pairings for the Flames one were on both goals.
And while you're checking too, like we're preaching about the Flames putting up 49 shots tonight, and again that's great, but also specifically on the first period, what I think could have been the best period the Flames have played since the start of this season, and the shots through 20 minutes were 20-5 in favor of the Flames. Again, you mentioned how high impact, high skilled this Rangers forward core is, and the fact that the Flames, who aren't known to be a very good defensively sound team, limited a firepower of a team to 5 shots in the first period. Again, it balanced it out at the end. It was still quite heavy in terms of the Flames, but 5 shots in the first period is no joke, and a shot differential of 15 is, again, I'm going to say for the Flame standards, something to be proud about for sure. Now, I'll flip back to you. What were...
Yeah. So it was Uyghur Miramanov on the first goal as they kind of got trapped in their own zone. And then I will have to say, not a big fan of starting the pairing of Pahal and Bean when you're having a defensive zone face-off. Not my favorite, and it did lead to the goal off the slick face-off play.
I agree, and I think speaking about Lafreniere's goal, it was that kind of weird screen where Wolf didn't really see the puck, made the first stop, which you're supposed to do, but then it's like first of all, I don't know whose job was to be up in the crease with Wolf, but whichever defenseman that was, nobody was picking up a stick, nobody was taking the guy screening Wolf, nobody was trying to get a body out of there, and then at the same time, you get the rebound, Wolf makes the stop, having to see through somebody's back, and then there's no defenseman there to kind of pick up Laugh, who's just sitting right next to the net, where there in theory should be somebody there. So again, like, not the most defensively sound play, not the most defensively sound game, but again, I think considering the team that the Flames played, it's something to be, I'm going to say it a lot, something to be happy about.
And I just saw something from NHL PR I'm going to save for the next period, because I think our next period is talking about Dustin Wolf. Is correct.
We can do that. I had video review, but we can call an audible.
We'll do the video review in the next period. I can talk about Wolfie in period 3, but cool stat that I think needs to be mentioned with Dustin. But maybe it is time to flip that period over.
I couldn't agree more, but before we can, I again just wanted to share that the Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, which is a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. Apologies. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. And obviously, employing more people means getting to make even more content with this great team and get the Game Over brand out as far as we possibly can. So obviously, if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways with these crowdfunding efforts, let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, or our Discord server, where of course you can chat with myself, Conrad, and our third Game Over Calgary host, Anand, Unnithan, where you can just chat with us anything you want in the Calgary section, where you can ask us questions, ask us how our day is going, or just hang out with us. We're happy to talk to you. So obviously, if you love to support and you love what we're doing, we obviously love the support. Now,
and before you go any further, Matt,
take it away.
Updated the ad copy, but most of us, not Matt, but most of us have made the jump over to Blue Sky. So if you are heading where the skies are blue, find us on there as well at the Game Over Network.bsky.social.
Yes,
I'm on there as well, and you can find us all through the main channel.
I will be on there soon. I have been a little bit late on the Blue Sky train, but yes.
You've been busy, Matt. We all get it.
We've all been busy, but that doesn't excuse me. I need to get on that as well. But yes, Blue Sky as well. It's a great platform, and we'd love to connect with you on that as well. Now, second period, we kind of wanted to talk about video review. I thought for a second we were going to have another Jamie Pringle masterclass on one of those Rangers goals. It looked like they were looking at something. To be honest, don't really know what they were looking at, but there was...
I think I know.
I'll take the lead on this.
So, during the first Rangers goal, there was a moment about 30 seconds prior to the goal going in where the puck was played with a high stick. You saw, I believe it was Mir Mana, put his hand up and look over to the ref, saying that the puck was played with a high stick. I just don't think there was conclusive enough evidence for a Jamie Pringle masterclass. And obviously, you take the timeout, give Jamie Pringle and the rest of the Flames video coaching staff a few extra seconds to look at it. But hey, we didn't go 0 for 1 on the night on video review like the team across the ice.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for sharing some insight there. Again, I know you especially, but myself, we're both kind of Jamie Pringle truthers, and we just can't miss with his calls and stuff. But
he's 100% on the season for a reason.
Exactly. But the other kind of thing I wanted to talk about was the Flames. Was it the first goal? Second?
One of our goals.
One of them.
I think it was the second.
I think you're right.
Somewhere.
But oh my God.
Yeah, it was before the Sharangovich goal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, my brain is fried tonight, but I believe the Rangers challenged for a hand pass on the Flames goal, and the challenge was not overturned and the goal stood. I don't know about you. I've been trying to find what the ruling was, or sorry,
I have it.
the ruling was that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the puck was deflected by Huberdeau's hand, not passed. Now, I'm not the like greatest rule guy when it comes to this stuff, but could you maybe explain what the difference is between a deflected pass with the hand and a hand pass? Because according to me, if it hits the hand and it changes direction and affects the overall play, I mean, that kind of sounds like a hand pass to me. So I will happily shift this on to you to share some
I'm trying to
insight.
find it. I'm trying to find it on Twitter, but there was a explanation given by the NHL PR. The puck did go off of the hand, but it was not deemed to be in a beneficial direction for the Flames. So that is the definition of a pass versus a deflection. If he had changed the angle in what was determined to be an intentional way to gain an advantage, that is what would make it a hand pass versus a deflection. Which then makes me think, I'm going back to when Michael Backlund had the goal called off last year when it went off of his arm, cuff of his glove, and then was called no goal. But again, like anything in the NHL that goes to video review, who really knows? Like, it feels like sometimes when it's a non-Jamie Pringle coach's challenge, it's 50-50. So maybe Jamie Pringle just has a better understanding of the rules than the rest of us. But it just seems that nobody really knows what's going on, and I think you'll probably hear a bit of complaining from the Rangers coaching staff about how that was ruled, but
Oh,
you know
I
what?
mean,
It helped us, and we're not Rangers podcasters or
exactly. We'll take a little bit of puck luck and a talking point on our show. So we'll take
yeah.
that. But yeah, I couldn't, like, I definitely agree. I feel like, I mean, we've seen calls like this happen, and obviously it's like, oh, I don't know about that. And, like, again, like you said, with the ruling that they gave on tonight's goal, I think we could give us a couple hours and we could put together a list of like, okay, well, these are all goals that we were disallowed because of this hand pass rule. But then you can make the argument where it's like, okay, well, did it deem that it like changed the play in any way? Probably not. So like, this is just like a concept we can go around in circles about, and not just the hand pass rule. There's any kind of rule. I mean, the big one is obviously goalie interference too. Like, that one's just two sides of the coin, right? But yeah, I mean, this is a full-time Flames podcast, but at the same time, I do think it is a part-time Jamie Pringle fan club. And I know for the both of us, or I mean, I'll say it for myself and I'll just let you agree with me because I know it's coming, but like, celebrity guest on this podcast, I might say Jamie Pringle.
Yeah. If hey Jamie, if you ever have time for either a game over, or we could do a pre-recorded segment and throw it on Game On when that makes its return, we're 100% willing to have the Jamie Pringle show.
Yeah, I mean, you could give us a call as you're looking to challenge. Like, that would be awesome. But yeah, I like going back to tonight's game. Like, obviously the Flames were potentially looking at that Rangers goal, and I have full faith in Jamie. I think it was a smart time to kind of use that timeout just to make sure, like, hey, like, if you think something's there, I'm willing to take a timeout. Make sure we get this properly, and don't pull a Peter Laviolette and the Rangers and get it wrong. So,
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't look up hand pass right now on Twitter, because there's a lots of Rangers fans with blue check marks
uh-oh.
that are complaining about how that one went. So,
Well, can't change the past. Can only look at the future. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know about you, but that's kind of what I had for the video review segment. I know our third period's going to be a bit of a bigger one, so I'm happy to kind of clip this guy off here, and let's
I
get to
agree.
the hard hitting.
I thought you had the best throw about the future Because the
Oh,
future is what we're going to talk about in the third period.
well, consider that just a lost cause. Maybe just my brain being mush at this point in this stage of the week.
Is what
If
it
if
is.
this was a Monday night, maybe I would have been a little bit more on the ball. But apologies to both yourself and everybody watching. That one's on me. Now, before we kick it to the third period of tonight's segment, just wanted to say, if you like what we're doing on the Game Over Calgary network, just know that there's 6 more as fantastic, as great cast of people in the other 6 Canadian markets for the Game Over network. So if you're maybe not so much a Flames fan and watch it tonight, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be, because the Flames are awesome. But if your bias maybe is with another Canadian market, just know that we've got Game Over markets in every Canadian city, and every staff and every show are just killing it. They're going to keep killing it. So just wanted to shout out to the Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto markets. They do great work. And obviously the big things with the Game Over Network is any cross Canadian matchup, you're going to get one of us and one of the other Game Over Network people. And we do some big crossover type show as well. I know we have Calgary and Ottawa on deck in the near future, so look out for that, because we'll be doing some fantastic work with the Game Over Ottawa crew. Anything to add there, Conrad?
No, it's just going to be Anand, and I believe Maud, one of our big social media and graphic design partners, who are going to be handling that crossover.
Yes, Anand and Maud are both fantastic. They keep the Game Over network boat afloat on several occasions. So shout out to them specifically as well. Now, kicking things over to the third period of tonight's show. Our big takeaways, the selling point, everything I'm sure everybody's here to talk about, is kind of letting the kids cook. Another fantastic performance from the young budding trio of Connor Zary, Matt Coronado, and Dustin Wolf. Now, I know we want to share a little bit of insight into all 3 of those guys. So why don't we start it off with the guy who got the scoring started off for the Flames tonight, and Matt Coronado. Again, I feel like, honestly, to me, it feels like he's turned a page and has been fantastic since that kind of Eastern Conference road trip when he went back home to Boston, and obviously his 2-goal performance in Montreal. I feel like since then he's kind of been a different player, and tonight was no different. Like, I mean, that shot of his is lethal. It is just a treat to watch, and I mean, blink and you'll miss it, right? So started the scoring off for the Flames tonight, and I just have a question for you here, Conrad. Talking about his shot specifically, putting you on the spot, when was the last time you've seen a guy that has that lethal of a release in a Flames uniform?
I'm going to go back to a guy who never shot the puck but had one of the best releases that we saw in this squad, Alex Tanguay.
Oh, great shout.
Like, it was an incredible wrist shot, but we just never got to see it, which is the opposite of what we're seeing with Matt Coronado. The shoot-first mentality, gets his 6th goal of the season, also had an assist on the Igor Shesterkin goal, getting to see some power play time. And this is a guy who was sent down earlier this season, right? Like, he also spent time in the A. So getting his confidence back, and they mentioned this on the broadcast, and I think this is very, very aptly pointed out by Kelly Rudy. He's finally getting to that spot that you saw so often if you ever got the chance to watch him playing with Harvard. That right between the hash marks, or like just to the side of the hash marks coming in off the face-off circles, he's finally built up the confidence, the body strength to get there at an NHL level, and then use what we both know is an elite shot. Got big shout out today to Igor Shesterkin, who kind of ran through a couple defenders' bodies and sticks to make sure they couldn't get in the way. But whenever we can see these young players starting to build that confidence, it's never a bad thing for how this team needs to develop. Is Matt Coronado likely going to be a top-line guy for this team? That's still yet to be seen. But if he can evolve to be a very, very comfortable middle 6 winger, who, if you have an injury, can jump up into the top 3 if you're needing him, I think that's a win for this organization, especially when that's been the struggles ever since Jerome McGinley's left, is developing that that top 9 winger mentality. Hasn't been there. So hopefully that is the future we see for the Harvard grad that decided he did want to play in Calgary.
I agree. And you mentioned he's got that shot first mentality, and I will say, like, keep shooting. I'll throw some stats at you. Heading into tonight's game, Coronado ranks 4th best on the Flames roster for shooting percentage. He's sitting at an 18.5% with, I think he had 27 shots heading in tonight. So that's 4th best. He's one of 4 people with a shooting percentage over 15, and that just tells me, hey, keep firing the puck. Now, I don't know.
They call it in NBA the shooter shoot, right?
Exactly. I don't know. I'll, again, give you a little bit of a trivia here, but would you happen to know who's first in Flames shooting percentage heading into tonight? It might have changed tonight, but heading into tonight.
I have a feeling it's going to be something like Justin Kirkland. Like, that just is where
Bingo.
my brain goes.
Nailed it on the spot.
Thank you, Costco. I'll go get a hot dog tomorrow.
Justin Kirkland's in first, and I believe it's Anthony Mantha in second.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Don't quote me. I feel like I saw Huberdeau's name in that 3rd slot, which is something that is, it's weird. I think I'm right, but don't quote me on that. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I feel like I thought he was 3rd. Maybe I'm wrong. But either way.
Which garbage goal capital of Calgary is number 10?
Well, that's the thing. Like, he maybe has 5 shots on goal all season, and he's scored on one of them. So it's like there's 20% right there. So, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it actually could potentially be the truth. Okay, we have 2 other guys to talk about, and I don't want to just keep rambling. I will pitch this to you. Which one of the other 2 budding stars do we want to talk about next?
I'm going to go to the guy I think needs to win the Calder Trophy this year. In a position where you say these players develop entirely slowly, Dustin Wolf has put his name in pen in the 1A role for this team, in my opinion. Matt, like, we just went down the line before we went live about the goalies he's faced head-to-head over the last few games. You say Saros is on that list, one of the top goaltenders in the NHL. Obviously, today winning the goaltending battle against probably a Vezina quality, or one of the players who has been kind of penciled in as a Vezina caliber goaltender already in Igor Shesterkin. Like,
and one
what
against
more
both
can
of
he
those
do?
goalies too.
Yes.
Right. Like, I think that makes it 4 straight wins and 4 straight starts. Not 4 straight starts, but he's got wins.
4 in 4 start. Last
Thank
4
you.
starts.
Yes. Well said. But yeah, like, the guys that he's knocking off is no joke. Like you said, I believe he's already won a Vezina in Shesterkin. I think. Varlamov the other night with the Islanders. Yeah. Saros, and then you could maybe a 1A, 1B with the Darcy Kemper type thing. So
just a notch down a little bit there.
But 3 bona fide starters, and he has not single-handedly, but he's beat them. And this kid is 22, 23. Like, I think this is kind of time where you got to give him his flowers, and 100% he should absolutely be in the running, if not the front runner for the Calder, at least at this point of the season. Again, there's a lot of game left.
And I just saw on X, he got a gift from his childhood idol, who was on the other side of the matchup today. Got a autograph stick from Jonathan Quick in the postgame. So,
oh, that's sweet.
I think that's kind of cool.
Talk about another goalie great as well, right? I mean, that would make sense. He's from the area and most likely kind of grew up watching him play. So I'm sure that was kind of a full circle moment for him as well. But absolutely, he's been fantastic in his starts. And I know there was a lot of concern about kind of feeding him to the metaphorical wolves, but he's shown he's the alpha, I guess.
The Alpha Wolf. I
The
see what you're
Alpha
doing
Wolf.
there.
Sorry, I tried to play off it. But yeah, he's been fantastic. And then like let's round out the bunch with a guy that it's been a long time coming for him to finally pot
Oof.
one. And man, did he pot one at the perfect time. Of course, we're talking about Connor Zary. I wrote down in my notepad in the first period. I feel like Connor Zary this year has been doing all the right things, but has nothing to reward himself for it. You
I
know?
literally have the same note in my notes. Zari doing everything but score.
Exactly.
Like,
Like he has been in most games, he's been kind of the catalyst offensively. He's the guy that's giving the Flames opportunities. And for some reason, it just won't, the puck won't bounce his way. Like, I mean, even in the first period, I think he ripped it off the post, right? And it's just like I sit there and I think that's where I wrote down the note. I'm like, he's doing everything right. He's in the right places. He's making the right plays, and it's just not ending the way he wants it to. And obviously, with him to get that game winner tonight, it was like you said, the monkey off the back kind of mentality for him, and hopefully this is kind of the floodgates are open from the river to the sea. Well said.
sorry, just had to respond to one of our people in the chat.
Gotcha. But yes, like monkey off the back mentality, and hopefully the floodgates are wide open for him now. I at least that's what I hope.
I agree. And sometimes you just need one of those fluky ones to bounce your way before the confidence starts to rebuild. He was one of those players when I was like, does he need to go spend some time in the Wranglers realm? Even if that's just send him down for one of those extended weekend series, like one of those 3-game homestands that the Wranglers have where you play Friday or Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Give him one of those weekends to build that confidence back up in the EA. But if he's going to continue to produce like this at the NHL level and dance through top quality defenders, like to use a soccer term, he nutmegged Jacob Trouba today, went absolutely in between the legs. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come for the young man wearing number 47. And Moose is here. Thank you so much for the compliment, for the professional analysis comment. We certainly appreciate it. But I got to say, love having the Nation Network and love having independent media in this city, and just don't see them as competition, but see them as not coworkers, but other people in the realm, other good people.
I think
Especially, I think you have a coworker that's on that station right now.
I do. I do. My
The
fellow
two WHL.
Western Hockey League colleague Cami Kepke, she's with the Bardenberger gang, and I think well said. I think it's collectively we're all kind of moving upwards and progressing to kind of the next stages of independent
What
outlets
media
like
what
this.
media looks like in this country.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it provides really good challenges for us, and obviously we're always striving to, I wouldn't say best each other, but we're trying to make a name for ourselves and kind of
It's
grow
like
communally
it's like
up.
Wolf and Vladar, right?
Love it.
Gotta have someone to raise your game to.
Exactly. But yes, I feel like we're kind of hitting the 40-minute mark here, and I'm sure. I mean, obviously, we appreciate the Mooses here shout, and like hearing all of our
Do we have time
comments
for
on
do
the
we have
game.
time for a couple of questions, do you think?
I think we do. That's what I was piggybacking it to. I think we got to kind of switch into the section, and our comment section has already been quite lively, and there are quite a few discussion points I would love to hit on. But before we could do that, my very last ad read for everybody, and this is a big one, at least for me and both Conrad. This is an exciting one. The Game Over Network has merch. I've picked up a couple established tees from myself and my dad. I know, Conrad, you've already picked up some gear. Mine's shipped on its way. Cannot wait to start repping Game Over. But we do have merch, and there's no better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing. So Game Over's apparel line, as I said, is officially dropped with 3 unique designs. Excuse me. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is what I got and is currently on sale, or want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our Live or Die by the Goalie design, or again, if you just need another coffee to get through the winter, we've got you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice of Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code. I'm throwing it up on screen right now for everybody to take a look at. Using the QR code on stream, take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. So, Conrad, I know, have you got your t-shirts, your merch in the mail yet?
It's great. I've worn it the last few episodes. Didn't need to go through the laundry finally, so it's going through that right now. But yeah, the merch is great. I would just say the shirts are a little bit thin, so maybe not the best for the winter, but check out the hoodies. Perfect for the cold weather that we've been going through. Well, I barely was able to get to university today because it was both of my exits to my community had accidents right outside of them, so it was the good old let's tack on an extra half hour to the commute today.
Oh, I had one of those too. I was downtown today, and it was a probably 20 extra minutes to get down there than I usually take. So wasn't great. I mean, you mentioned we have hoodies. We've got coffee mugs to drink all your coffee for the winter. And I mean, if you really like the t-shirts, they are thin. So like, hey, buy 3 or
Layer
4
up.
and double up with just 4 established teas, you know. I will say, if somebody does that, send it to us and we will plug it on our socials, because that's amazing.
Or do it an established for each of the network or different teams, and do a video, do the good old TikTok montage
Even
of
better.
each of them.
Yeah, even better. I love that.
Yeah, including those Oilers guys. Like
those ones could be at the very bottom. Those ones
Yeah.
could be at the bottom.
they're the base layer. They're the one that stinks at the end of the day.
Very true. I mean, we do love everybody at Game Over Edmonton as well. Maybe not the team as much, but at least the Game Over crew, they're fantastic. So obviously check out their stuff. Now, let's move it into the Q&A section. Obviously, we've got a lot of people in the chat tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to fire them our way. I'm going to go back through the chat because we have seen some really good comments already. Starting off with Matt C. I'm just reading everything out right now. Hubie almost had a Patrick Stefan there at the end. And I also saw Moose is here. Thoughts on Huberdeau missing an empty net. We said it earlier in the episode. That's like the most Huberdeau thing to do, is hit his great 500 assist milestone to then potentially throw the game by nailing the post. Again, I said my take. I mean, if you want to jump in there, Conrad, and tell us about that wild moment there.
You said it the first time we were together. Jonathan Huberdeau may not score a pretty goal ever again.
I stand by that.
I'm starting to believe, Matt. I'm starting to believe that Jonathan Huberdeau's days as a garbage man have begun already, and he just saw there was way too much space. He needs to slip it under the pads on a rebound for him to score, so he just wasn't comfortable.
I agree. I mean, it's getting pretty bad when we're saying that an empty net is not a garbage, or is considered not a
nice goal for him.
It's a nice goal for his standards. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's how you know things are looking a little grim. But I mean, it's dumb, but I can't say I was surprised. I definitely feel like this wasn't the first time we've seen him hit a post on an empty net, and nor will it be the last either. I'm willing to bet on that for sure.
I hope you're wrong on that regard. I hope he never hits the post on the empty net again, but
by saying that, he'll just put it 5 feet over the net every time instead. So
okay, he's not Michael Stone with the slap shot here, Matt. Like,
talk about a guy I miss on the blue line. Let's see what else we got. Strong showing from the Flames, especially the young guys, against the top team with their A team. Wolf is looking like a game changer in net with his skill and style of puck movement. DD,
yeah, that's something.
Absolutely,
that's something
agree.
Kelly hammered on today. Like, I didn't recognize it until Kelly mentioned it and kind of beat it into the ground a little bit. But Dustin Wolf does not like freezing the puck. It is almost a last resort. Like, you even saw when the puck was kind of scrambling in front of his cage, he wasn't willing to, like, let's just get the glove on top of this and get a line change. It's like, I still want this puck to be in play. I want the Flames to go score more goals. And I'm like, Dustin, we aren't the Tampa Bay Lightning and Columbus Blue Jackets, apparently, who can score 7 and 6 goals in a game.
Hey, I'm all for moving the puck. I will say this, though. We had a goaltender in the past that moved the puck quite a bit and is it came to bite us in the butt quite a few times. Cough,
I was
cough.
there for his fight, so
I was too, so he got some bonus points there. But cough, cough. Mike Smith, cough, cough. Thoughts on Hubert missing the empty net? We already chatted about that. Coronado is our most dangerous player in terms of scoring.
I disagree with that.
I think he's up there on a game-to-game basis. Overall, I agree with you. Who do you think is, if you can...
Connor Zary, the most skilled one-on-one player. He is going through and around people. He has been snake bit, as you said, as we both said, but I still think he's the most dangerous in a game-by-game basis.
I agree. I will agree with that, and I think the big asterisk is if he can... I think he's the most dangerous player in terms of scoring, but I also think he's, like you said, the most snake-bitten guy on the team.
I'm going to pull a comparison here. Matthew Lombardi.
Okay, that's a
The
shout.
guy who was always around the puck but seemed to never score. I'm hoping that the ceiling is a little bit higher, but it definitely has shades of Lombardi to me.
I have to pull deep into the archives for that one because that's a name I haven't heard in a while. I love playing the let's just name random Flames from years past. I'll throw a David Moss out there if we're gonna play the game.
Let's go. You want to hear my name that I go to more often than I should? Matt Domicelli.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm going back a little bit further, but that's an all-time name.
That one's a good one. That's getting into very young me stages. So good on you. I think my cutoff is that early 2010s, early or late 08, 09 era is probably as far back as I can go. Who is our all-star for the all-star game? Well, there isn't an all-star game this year, if that's what you're implying. Of course, the Four Nations tournament is kind of taking over that weekend. If we're just saying all-star in general, Wolf is a very good candidate for that at this point of the season. Just thinking off the top of my head, I would say at this point right now, I would agree with that statement.
In a squad that doesn't have anybody on pace to break 50 points, I think sending one of our two goaltenders as an all-star, if there were an all-star game this year, is probably where we'd have to go.
I agree.
Who I want to send as an all-star, because I want to see the social media content, is just send Mackenzie Weegar to everything.
Okay, so I was going a different direction. That would be a good one. But if we're talking specifically social media and content, I'm throwing Andrei Kuzmenko into that mix 110%. That's will fair. Hear him tell scary ghost stories. I would listen to that for 10 hours straight. Great content right there. But I think just in overall, if we're just naming who's our all-star right now, I would probably go in from a performance standpoint, Wolf. Okay, we're hitting the 50-minute mark, so maybe we can, I see two questions that I kind of want to answer. So let's fire those and get going on with the rest of our night. At this point, would we all be disappointed if the Flames missed playoffs, or did our expectations change this year? I don't want to say it, but I kind of feel like I might be a little disappointed if they make the playoffs, and I don't want to be that guy I don't want to be that guy to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Do you want my reasoning for that, or do you just want to shame me for that?
I'll hear you out at the very least.
Okay, so we're clearly in the rebuild portion of this season, correct? We've sold just about every asset we can. I think in a perfect world, I'd be happy to maybe see a few other guys go out, but as much as I would love to see a Flames, it's not that I don't want to see a Flames playoff run. I would make the argument that the Flames in the playoffs, the Sea of Red, the Red Lot is one of the greatest experiences you can experience as a Flames fan. I absolutely love it. But for a long-term longevity success for this team, I don't think making the playoffs is what we want, in the sense that Yes, I absolutely think that we've done a great job drafting the last season especially. I love the Zane Perek pick, and even our later picks, the Henry Muse of the world, the Jacob Battaglias, the Hunter or Andrew Basha. They're all great picks, but I mean, I'm a little greedy, and like I want more of that, if that makes sense. And by making the playoffs, we're guaranteeing us a 16 or higher pick. Again, I don't know whose pick we have this year. Maybe it's New Jersey's, but either way,
We have ours and the Flyers for sure.
okay,
Or no, not Flyers. Panthers. Correction.
Panthers.
Yeah.
I still kind of want to pick a little low because I don't think the rebuilds that we're on right now, like I don't
We're
know.
not at the end.
I agree. And by making the playoffs, it's essentially a season where we give up what could potentially be a lot higher pick for a playoff run. So that's where I stand. It's not like I'm betting against the Flames to make the playoffs, but I just think in the long term of things, it's not what this team needs at this moment, if that makes sense. So, I mean, you can shame me all you want and I will take it on the chin, but that's where I stand.
So I'm not going to shame you. We have two potential scenarios, I think, that work for the Flames. Number one, we make the playoffs, go all the way, make the Stanley Cup final, and then we give Montreal the 29th or 31st overall pick. And we ride the PDO bender all the way, take it, have as much fun as we can. And as Toke number one said, cup or bust. That's option one in my brain. Option two is we go on the fire sale. We trade Rasmus with the year on his contract, get the extra assets that will provide, trade Andrei Kuzmenko, trade Dan Vladar, trade anything that has an expiring contract. Hey, with Blake Coleman riding the struggle bus, maybe trade Blake Coleman and try and just tank the ever living bleep out of this season. I think those are only two options, and I think Craig Conroy has a lot on his plate right now. Do you still consider that right-handed center a point of need for this team? Do you still consider that, hey, Murray Edwards wants his 3 games of playoff revenue?
Yeah, like it's not an easy answer, and like again, you said it perfect. It's Craig Conroy has a big decision on his hands with what direction he wants to take. It's just what I'm scared about, and what Moose is here is kind of touching on is what if the Flames make
Oh, the Jerome McGinley era, we're ninth in the West.
well, that and like the sense that if the Flames do go on a hypothetical playoff run here, right? This team isn't built to be a 1-2 seed in the West, a 1-2 seed in the Pacific. Let's be frank, like if we are going to be in the playoffs, we're going to be a wild card team. So what I fear and what we've seen happen in recent years is the Flames thinking they can or maybe not thinking, but Flames in the hunt right to the very end, fall short of the playoffs and land themselves with pick 15. That's what
But
I'm scared about.
I'll counter you. 04. The Flames had no expectations that year. We had the tandem of bringing in Mika Kiprasov and having Roman Turek be our backup goaltender. That was a year with no expectations. And we ran it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Is that what we're seeing with this Flames team? A team where we don't have a marketable star, but we have a bunch of really, really amazing individual players and who believe in this squad and can run it to a Stanley Cup final. I think that's kind of where I see this team right now, heading into the infamous point in the season where American Thanksgiving determines where you go. I, however, will say, even if we are that, we should not be buyers at the deadline.
Agreed. Well, 100% agree with that. And like, I mean, would another 04 Cup run be fantastic? And does this team have the makings to do it? Sure. Like we're seeing it right now. Like they just knocked off the Rangers and with one of their best performances when they weren't going into it, they were not the favorites by any. They were the heavy underdogs, and they did it right. So, is it something I want to see? 100%. The way I take a look at things is more like logically, right? Like I don't do a very good job of it, but I try and keep emotions kind of out of it. And yes, Flames playoff run is fantastic. I mean, the one in 19 with the Battle of Alberta, Game 7, Johnny's OT goal. Like, I don't know if I've been happier since that moment, but logically, I just like I if we want to have a team that finds success consistently, like I'm gonna say like a Tampa Bay-esque team. I mean, I don't know if anybody would ever be able to rebuild what Tampa did with the guys they had, but if we want a team that's kind of consistently in the hunt as a contender, I think this year is one that you just have to like be at ease with not being very good. I'm also reading the chat here, and Husk is such a competitor and he hates losing, and I agree. I like it's a very weird thing. It's not like I know I'm going in circles at this point, but like I just think logically and on paper the team doesn't have enough to be a threat in the playoffs. And again, you can throw that 0-4 argument right back at me, and we'll go around.
We just
in
need a
circles.
Christoph Oliwa, and then we're good.
Sure, I don't disagree. I
Can we get Matt Rempe from the Rangers somehow?
Oh man, that would be interesting for sure. I mean, do we have one of those in Brian Lomberg right now?
We'll
maybe. But yeah, I think I mean, I'm gonna be shamed for that take, and as I said, I'll take that on the chin. But we're running at the hour mark here, and I'm pretty sure
I've got homework projects I need to finish by the end of the night.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end up having to wrap it up here. I mean, obviously, love the discussion with everybody. If you liked what we did, by all means, reshare, subscribe, like.
We're 7 subscriptions away from that 100 subscriber mark. So
it'll be huge.
Share with your friends.
And you get more of my blasphemous takes that might get me banned as a Flames fan. So if you want to see that.
Well, we can't ban you yet. Every time you're on this show, Jonathan Huberdeau produces.
That is fair. I guess what's on deck for us next? Flames have a Saturday matinee game against the Wilds. I believe, Conrad, you're on the call for us that afternoon, are you not?
Yeah, me and Anand will have that one.
Fantastic. So that's what's on deck. Again, appreciate everybody in the chat. Takai number 1 is consistently contributing to our conversations. We obviously appreciate that. And Moose is here. Appreciate you keeping it lively in the chat, talking with us. And again, we'll be back Saturday, so you're more than welcome to jump in then. Reshare with your friends, families, subscribe, like, and have a great rest of your evening.